I'm worried. You're worried. We're worried. Let's worry. Hi, I'm Casey Grambo,
And I'm Kevin McDermott.
and we're performers at the CT Comedy Theater in Hartford, Connecticut. While our physical theater is shut down due to the pandemic, we're excited to bring our show, Little Worry, Big Worry, to you in this digital space. On each episode of Little Worry, Big Worry, we're joined by a very funny guest to talk about what we're worried about, the little silly things, and some of our bigger personal fears. We're going to talk things over, break it down, and hopefully feel a little less worried.
Beautiful, Casey.
Thank you.
That's it.
Oh my gosh, Kevin, we're back. We're here.
It's
We're talking.
it's nice to see you.
It's
Yeah.
great.
This is a highlight of my every week, and it's just good to be back with you.
Yeah.
Virtually.
You know what I just watched at your request was the first episode of Upload. And this is a show Kevin recommended that I check out on our segment recommend something good. And
Mm-hmm. Did I recommend something good?
I thought it was good. I had a lot of
Yeah.
gasp moments. I was kind of like completely taken in by the 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 pilot episode exposition. Like it was their exposition was a lot of like reveal which
Yeah.
was fun. Nate, who was watching it with me, described it as if Hallmark made a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah.
And I was
Oh,
like,
God damn it. Of course Nate
he
nails
really
it.
summed it up,
Yeah.
and I get
Yeah.
to be the bullhorn of his great ideas. So thanks for the rec.
Yeah, good. We loved it, tore through it, first season, but I read like they immediately upped it for a second season,
Wow.
and I hate saying describing it this way, but it's like it's smart and it
Yeah.
incorporates like so many culturally relevant, technology relevant like themes in a really funny and clever way.
Yeah.
You're like that show's smart and it's like really funny. So I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah. I'm excited
That's
to keep
awesome.
watching.
I have a really recommend something good recommendation that I'm excited about today.
Okay.
So we'll get there at the end of the show.
We will.
But I have you've thrown out a couple that are unorthodox, and I've been a little bit jealous of your more unique recommendations. I've stuck with like videos and shows that are, I think, just more traditional. So anyway,
Get
I'm
on
gonna
my
go a little bit out
level.
of the box, inspired by you.
Okay.
This episode.
I'm
So,
thrilled. And another reason I'm thrilled is that joining us today on today's episode to chat is a Connecticut-based actor and improviser, a co-founder of the CT Comedy Theater, who is currently serving as the company's artistic director. Please welcome our guest, Greg Ludovici.
Greg, yes.
Hi. Hello.
Yes.
Hi,
Hello,
Greg.
Audience
friends.
applause. Insert
Hello.
here.
Wow.
Boom.
Hi, audience. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I have not
All
heard
right,
that
get down in your
sound.
seats, guys. Come on, sit down.
No.
Audience, we need to get on with the
Standing
show.
ovation. Greg's like, keep them up.
Come on.
Yeah, it's been at least a year since I've experienced
Greg.
anything like that. So
Greg's
wow.
just fist pumping the
Yeah.
audience. Let's go.
Everything
Thank you,
is going to be so hype when we get
Yeah.
back.
Oh
Can
my
you imagine
gosh.
it like doors blown off the theater?
Yeah, like we've
Oh.
forgotten how to clap.
Oh my, yeah.
We're all gonna be like sore, red, keep missing my hand.
Hilarious. Unbelievable. It's true. I think I'm going to be I'm an audience member that usually is like a little vocal, like to myself. Like I'll be like, "Oh wow." Like in the theater, and I feel like I'm going to have to work on not doing that as loud when we return.
Being part of a hyped audience or performing in front of a hyped audience, like it feels so far removed, but like I can still feel it in my stomach and like taste the adrenaline in the back of my jaw.
Ooh, Greg,
like
where do you remember
as soon as I
it?
think about it.
Oh goodness. I mean, it's a tingle in my fingertips.
yeah.
Yeah. And I'm glad you guys still remember it because
Feel the
boy, we're gonna
tingle.
need some help when those doors open again. My goodness.
Yeah. Oh my god. I could really go for a pre-show stretch. It's been a
Mm,
year.
Ooh.
hmm Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, some crazy eights.
Limber it up, folks.
It's
Oh
gonna
my
shake
god.
down.
Oh. Yep.
Yeah.
Shake it, count it down.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Greg, we're thrilled to have you here, man.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for being here. We're going to get into the show.
Yeah.
Cool.
Greg knows what it's all about. We're going to share a couple of little worries and a couple of big worries,
And I think
and
Kevin's
talk
gonna
them all
kick us
out.
off.
I am. I am. So my little worry,
Mhm.
it's been on my mind since Christmas when I received a re-gifted sleep pad. Um, and it's a sleep monitoring pad that connects to my phone and gives me data when I wake up for how I slept. And I
Ooh.
am worried that this sleep monitor is I think it's fulfilling its purpose of making me more conscious of how I sleep, but it is going way overboard. Like I um, feel like I have an emotional relationship with this sleep pad now, and I feel like when I get a poor night of sleep, that I've disappointed my sleeping pad.
Mm. Uh, Can I just
I've
so
offended
this
it.
this pad,
Yeah.
does it go? Like,
It's
is it long? Like, are you sleeping
um
all along it,
Yoga
or
mat?
is it in
no,
a pillow? Like,
it
what's a pad?
it's perpendicular to my body. So
Okay.
it slides in underneath. I would say it's probably 8 to 10 inches wide. You are instructed to position it near where your chest is. If you're a stomach sleeper, I
Okay.
happen to be a back sleeper. It just says position it by your chest, allow for like 2 minutes for the unit to calibrate, and then yeah, you can sleep on it, and then it gives you a sleep score
Mhm.
for the duration of your sleep, the depth of your sleep. It subtracts for the number of interruptions to your sleep. It subtracts for the regularity of your sleep. So when you go to sleep and when you wake up. And I yeah, I find myself getting stressed when I wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, or if the dog sleeps in our bed, if he rolls around and I wake up, that it interrupts my sleep, and then I'm gonna have a bad sleep score, and my
Yeah.
sleep pad's gonna be
Ah.
pissed at me in the morning. So, like, I don't know, do you guys have wearables or anything equivalent that, like, yeah? I mean, does that positively, I don't know, no, positively, like, influence your behavior, or how is it integrated into your life?
Yeah, so it's funny. I think one my big worry, it kind of ties into this, Kevin, but we'll save that for later.
Okay, okay.
That's our teaser, right?
Nice.
But yeah, so I wear a Fitbit that can absolutely track my sleep, and it's an important thing to me. It's something that I really do care about tracking
Yeah.
because I have, as far back as I can remember, I've been quite a terrible sleeper. Um, and since I'm not a great sleeper, I guess I don't let it eat me alive. Instead, I really try to just use it for the scientific elements of like, "Oh, wow, this is how many times I'm waking up.
Mm.
What can I do before I go to sleep to improve that?" And I'm just experimenting with my life to try and
You're your own sleep study.
see if it changes the numbers afterwards um,
Have you discovered anything that's positively
Yeah.
influenced that element?
um, Uh, sure. I mean, yeah. So I mean, I really do try to just do audio entertainment for the last
Mm.
hour before going to sleep. I switched to
Smart.
Get rid of
podcast.
that blue light. No
Yes,
blue
right,
light,
right.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I switched to my audio books or podcasts or things like that, and yes, obviously, trying not to eat stuff again after dinner. Um, but then there's the reality that if you end up waking up for too long in the middle of the night, whether it's your child waking you up and then you needing to be with her for a while or what have you, It's like then I don't get my REM. What's happening? Whoa.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know what's going on.
Oh no, it's like I'm trapped in it's raining on me, you guys.
Hold on. Greg, hold on. Let me see if I can switch it
Okay.
up.
All right, I'm here.
Oh, this is so odd.
It's a music video feature that
Yeah.
we have. It's a filter from the '80s. It's the
Sorry.
Eurythmics video.
Sorry, guys. I
Um,
had to take this to the car wash. I didn't mention to you, but, don't worry. I can still hear you just fine, right?
Oh my god. No,
Hmm.
what is this happening? Let me
Oh,
see. Oh,
that's
there
alright,
you
you're
are.
back.
okay. Okay, good,
I
good,
don't
good.
know why
All
that
right.
happened. You know what?
Yeah.
Don't touch it.
Casey making a frustrated tech noise just
Hmm.
fixed it.
That's computer karma for you.
Roll the tape back. That impression was perfect.
Yeah.
So I sleep. One of the big problems is I sleep fewer hours than my sleep monitor thinks that I need.
Mhm.
And
Mm.
a couple of things. As soon as I go to bed, I sleep like a dead man, and then I wake up. And I sleep typically for like 6 hours.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I perhaps could have, at least according to my sleep pad, longer and more optimal sleep. But my energy level is super high. I feel, I don't know. Even as I age, I feel good and like
You're only gonna
I
get
don't
less
know,
sleep as you age.
energized. So
So,
like I typically do like 6 hours, and this sleep monitor is like yelling at me. I feel okay. So I don't know. What am I supposed to do?
yeah, maybe you need a second opinion app to compare against,
Oh,
A
like
more tech
butt
to
pad.
right,
piggyback more on.
right,
Oh,
you know,
Greg coming out of left field. I love it.
uh, even with 7, like, sometimes I'll get, 7 hours of sleep, and it's like, "Excellent, good," and other times I'll get 7 hours of sleep, and it's like, "Fair," but, I can also get 4 hours of sleep, and then it's like, 'I'll give you a 77, fair," right? So
Okay.
so,
Okay.
Fitbit never heavily guilts me for my for my poor sleep. Um,
Is that based on the depth? Look, pardon me, largely that if you
yeah,
get like deep restorative
Yeah,
sleep.
quantity or quality, not quantity, I suppose.
Hmm.
yeah, well, and that's what I was mentioning, like, if I'm up for too long in the middle of the night, I don't get REM because
Yeah,
your body, like,
Mm.
saves most of the REM for late in your sleep cycle.
the witching
Um
hour.
Yeah, so it's crazy. But yes, so it uses a lot of data, and so maybe you need either just something to compare your numbers to, because this thing seems to be like not everybody needs 8 hours. It knows that, so you got to
Okay.
tell your app to
Cool it.
cool it, give you a little extra time, or start using another app as a new rubric. Translate it to something that works for you, Kevin.
Start
Don't
Even
let it
if
seeing
own you.
start seeing
for
something
sure.
else.
Don't let it
I'm
guilt
gonna
you.
tell my app, I'm gonna start seeing somebody else.
Yeah.
Even if
Mhm.
I don't intend to, I want my monitor to know that I could walk out the
At
door
any
That's
at
time.
any
right.
moment.
It's not the only monitor in the world by
No,
far.
absolutely
True.
not.
It's really
Pack
true. There's lots of available pads on the market, and I will
Mhm.
say, I have never heard of something being like, "Can you give me 2 minutes to calibrate? I just need
Oh,
2
yeah.
minutes to calibrate." And it's like, what's gonna happen if you don't? Is it gonna like, like sorry, podcast listeners, but is it gonna wrap around you and like, dissolve your body? What's gonna happen?
In fact, there is a warning that it will suffocate you if you don't let it calibrate correctly.
It's like, I need to do
So
my job.
it enters your throat and lays eggs in your stomach.
Oh,
So
Christ.
that's yeah, and then they suffocate you when they hatch. So that's
And
a
then they
downside as well, and it's noted on Amazon reviews. Everyone says it.
Mm.
Um,
I
so
don't
yeah,
use any
well,
of those. I was
you don't
wearing
use any
I was wearing a
or
Fitbit for a while, and I was mostly using it because I was waking up very early to go for early morning walks with a friend of mine who, my friend Erica, who no longer lives in my neighborhood. But I was waking up my partner like way earlier than he was comfortable with. So the Fitbit's got like that silent bzz, bzz, like it was like waking me up like with my watch,
Mm.
which I was like, whoa, that is cool as heck. But I honestly, sleeping with, a lot of accoutrement, like I can't do it.
Is that buzz intended to more gently lift you out of your sleep cycle?
without bothering the other person too.
That's
It's
the key thing is it was like
yeah,
I
yeah.
see.
So it wasn't like an
and
audio thing, it was just my wrist. So unless my wrist was, like, all up in their biz, it wasn't an issue.
Kevin, one of the newer features on it is because it is monitoring your heart rate and it knows what sleep cycle you're in. You can optionally set smart wake, and then
Ooh,
it will wake you up during like lightest sleep moment of a 30-minute block,
Yeah, so you
okay,
don't have that, like,
which is
okay.
is my
groggy.
alarm a song I'm dancing to in my nightmare talent show? It's you know
Yes.
exactly what's going on.
All right. Well, thank you guys. You have eased my worry by convincing me that my sleep monitor is just a piece of shit. So thank you. That's awesome. Thank you. So my re-gifted sleep pad from a buddy who got it, and I think he knew that it would play psychological warfare with him.
There you
So, well,
go.
thank you guys. That is that puts me at ease. Maybe we could do the same for Greg's little worry.
Yeah,
I'm
maybe.
not certain,
Greg, what's your
but
little worry?
My little worry,
Yeah.
yes, let's start small here,
mm,
yeah, make let's
Crescendo.
the easy one here
Yeah.
is,
starting
of
small.
course, um, my daughter thinks everyone is her friend, and that includes supervillains.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Uh,
So we have no stranger danger, and that includes the bad guys.
Oh,
yes,
no.
and
Does she, like is like, "Oh, that's my friend. Oh, that's my friend," like, when she's watching all these shows
yes, yeah, and like, we're
or films or whatever?
pretty like, we're pretty strict about what she actually watches.
Yeah.
She has seen, like, 8 Disney or Pixar movies total.
Mhm.
And maybe that's part of the problem that she doesn't have
She's
enough
familiar with
examples
them, that's why.
of people. Yeah. But yeah, like, she has only seen Disney, Pixar, and then, like, Daniel Tiger for television because it's Mister Rogers' Neighborhood Evolved and Sesame Street. Um, and she's only allowed to play Mario games with me, but, Bowser is her best friend, and Marshmallow, the big snow she calls him Big Snowman from Frozen, loves Big Snowman. That thing's like I was always afraid, like, that's gonna terrify her. Nope, that's her friend.
And that
Um,
guy Scar, he's really all right.
right,
I
yeah,
love Spa.
Oscar the Grouch, totally her friend, right? Gabby, whenever we play with Toy Story, I have some little Toy Story 4 Lego sets that I got her, and she's always like, "I'll be Gabby," like, that's she's supposed to be the creepy one, but no, everyone is her friend. She loves and she's drawn to these villains like they're the best.
That is some relentless optimism, positive energy. I
Yeah,
feel like a lot of kids get really scared, like, they're freaked out by that stuff, and the fact that she's just like I mean, there's definitely a positive end to that for
yeah.
for
Is it
sure.
missionary like zeal? Like she feels like she can convert these people and I can turn them.
Uh,
Hello, Gabby Gabby.
right? It really doesn't seem that way. It
No,
really
okay.
Mm.
yeah. She does so with the Grinch, she was like, "He learned."
Mm.
She
Uh-oh.
loves the Grinch. He learned, right? So she's always acknowledging
Change
like,
is
"Hey,
possible.
like that is not a bad." So yeah, there may be some element of that in most of these stories.
No one's a
The
lost
bad person
cause. How
learns.
sweet.
Yeah.
I think your daughter's just super cool, Greg. She's like, look at these Mario brothers. They're
Yeah.
kind of lame. Fucking Mario and Luigi. But like Bowser and his crew, man, those dudes are freaking rad.
Exactly, yeah, Shy Guy Ghost is her favorite. Bowser and Shy Guy
Ooh,
Ghost.
I didn't think about this as the other option is that she's got, like, sweet little girl energy, but she's just gonna grow up into being, like, a rebel, badass, like, bad boy loving, like, oh no.
Well,
Or
yeah, and that's
bad boy, bad girl, whatever.
right, yeah,
Um,
yeah, bad
bad human,
attitude, yeah, bad
bad
bad to the
The
bone,
the
loving,
baddie.
bad to
yeah,
the bone.
um, right, well,
Wh-
and that's kinda why it's a little worry now because it's like, what does this lead to if she never develops that, you know, that
Does she
level of
have
being able to discern.
does she have boundaries with real people? Like, does she have healthy and appropriate, like, stranger boundaries in public or
Everything seemed healthy up until the pandemic, you know?
Right, right, yeah, that's hard, yeah,
Yeah, there's a fewer interactions in the world, but, I think
for sure.
she fears people without masks more
Mm.
than
Yeah.
with masks, and again, that's like villains wear masks, so
Oh, geez, this is all just
Mm.
right?
piling up.
It's like yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
so now she's got the reverse going on,
exactly.
the
She's
Oh,
only gonna
anti-maskers.
mysterious stranger, best
yeah,
friend.
the Joker's gonna walk up with that freaky smile, and you'll be like, "Ah!" At least
My
he's covered
friend.
at least he's covered in paint.
What a nice clown.
Mhm.
Oh my god. Well, I don't know. That seems really
I
there's not much you can do. This is just gonna be an interesting experiment. I'm
Yeah.
sure all of parenting is, she said.
it
I
totally is, yeah, my daughter's terrified of everything, so it's interesting that yours is, embracing of, yeah, but does she like Daniel as well? Daniel
oh,
Tiger? I mean,
oh,
she likes
yes.
the good guy and the bad guy.
Yes, that's why I said everyone is her friend,
Everyone.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not like
That's
she
great.
is only drawn to the baddies, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's her friend, and, I mean, part of that might be in our effort, as parents to yeah, to not, like, uh, force any sort of I like
Like a
buckets onto
judgment or
people.
anything. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Like, we I think we're trying to do that as well, and I like, it might be working, and the thing is, it's like, I want her to form her own judgments, and maybe she's just not ready to do that, but I am not going to tell her, "That's a bad guy," right? I don't wanna do that, and at this point in her development, she's not figuring it out on her own, so we've got an interesting child psychology experiment going on where we'll
Mm.
see at what point do people start to think like maybe that giant, spiky, mean, grouchy dinosaur monster who keeps stealing the princess doesn't have the best intentions.
Yeah, she's gonna start to understand narrative plot before she, like, just then she understands, like, just character. She's gonna be like, "Oh, I get it. Because of the story, he's bad. Okay, I get
Yeah, if she hasn't figured it out by the time she's 13, then I will tell her.
it."
But let's talk a
There
little bit about where Bowser's coming from.
Yes,
Let's dig in a little bit deeper and see what his motives.
right.
Why are you behaving that way, Bowser?
Ugh,
Mhm.
I love it. That's
So
so
he
funny.
kidnaps the princess. I'm sorry that I am
Always.
such a moron. Okay, he always, yeah. See,
It's
that's it for me. That's like right away. You're a bad dude.
and
Kidnapping princesses, not cool.
it's something that I hope I am, I really hope that start to veer away from that a little bit because um it's important. We should be able to play as Princess Peach Toadstool way more often.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I mean, she's a cool, powerful lady. It's awesome to be able to race with her in Mario Kart and battle with her in Smash Bros. But any of the traditional Mario games, like it's got to be magic if you want to play as her. Um,
Mhm. It
uh,
doesn't need yeah, it's like there's so many other places where
yeah.
the damsel narrative is being perpetuated. Let's just make the one easy
I,
cut, like Mario.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, and there are gonna be some Mario fans out there who are like, "But in Super Mario Brothers 2, like, you got to play as," and I
let's
know,
not get
I
into
know.
Super Mario canon again. We've
Right,
already been
right.
that.
Because
You,
Super
you,
Mario Brothers 2 wasn't even actually a Mario game in Japan, you guys. They slapped Mario over it when it came to America, okay?
as
So
Take
everybody
that.
knows, guys,
mhm,
come on.
Take
yeah,
that, everyone
Uh,
writing the
everyone.
Greg,
letters in the comments.
Mhm.
Take it.
one thing that like like Pixar movies, for example, like they are so carefully constructed
Mhm.
and
Yes.
so like thoughtfully constructed with like child development, adult entertainment, and enjoyment. Like I for 1 second thought about showing my son, who's now 10, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, which was entertainment when I was young. Are you familiar
Mhm.
Did
with
you
this film,
rewatch it?
Casey?
Yeah, I am.
I watched it for a second and a half, and it is so scary.
Yeah.
It is so
And it's not
terrifying. So
appropriate for kids.
I wasn't
totally not, but I watched it when I was 8 or 9 or 10. Not saying that that's okay, but that was like Jaws was PG.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
so I don't know if that is at all connected of like, is our current bad guys like too benign to be recognized for like how bad they are? Because like in Temple of Doom, you're like, yo, that guy is ripping hearts out
Yeah.
of chests. Like he's a bad dude. But maybe now, I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
I think the phrase mild peril will say a lot for,
Yeah.
current child, media and entertainment. Not that I think kids need anything scary. I mean,
I'm not advocating, yeah, at all. Don't get me wrong for more
but I think
scary
ratings
stuff.
also have gotten more strict,
Yeah.
I think a lot of things changed and y'all experienced it in between. Um,
I think so. Even ET, right? I'm like dying to show my kids ET. It's really
I
scary.
openly
It's
wept
too
watching it like
scary.
2 years ago.
I it's a I
Rewatching it.
mean,
It's
I'm
I
not gonna
Yeah, I grew
cry
up on
every
the,
time too.
edited for TV, version of that
Oh.
where ET does not get sick.
right.
He never
And
turns
maybe
powder white.
Oh
well,
god,
maybe I
baby had a
watched it.
terrible makeover. Like, it's
I
so
I was in
sad.
sh I was in shock the first time I watched that movie as an adult, and an entire hour of the
B-section.
movie I had never seen before.
It's a
So
B-section.
they in your version, they edited out the scientists taking
Hell
over the
yeah.
home and, like, that
Hell yeah.
whole, like, scary medical stuff and
It pretty
ET.
easily gets chopped out if you think about it.
Oh,
You can be like, "Clunk," and it's just like ET runs
gone.
away, maybe you grab him, and then it's like cut to bringing him home. Like, it
Yeah. I so, I mean, again, that was, like, just the not the rate of scariness, but it's, that shit really like, it's still I get scared thinking about it, which is probably the point of, like, why we need milder child entertainment now for kids.
it's interesting. It really is interesting. And then there's some
It's
movies,
Hollywood's fault.
and I guess then we probably should move on, but there are some movies I feel like that don't even really have a bad guy, or I was if I'm remembering correctly, like, Frozen wasn't like, got rewritten, like, it was going like, Elsa was gonna be the bad guy.
She's the Ice Queen if you
Sh
go by, the original Hans
and
Christian Andersen story,
and
yeah.
I thought that was so interesting, not that it's like I'm into the hipster Frozen idea, but, you know, I'm like, "Whoa," like, yes, like, that resonated, like, the idea of, like, family feuding, like, stuff like that, like, that's really cool, really unique. And, like, Inside Out, like, the bad guys are necessarily, like, the Stay
It's like
Puft
loneliness,
Marshmallow guy.
right?
It's like, yeah, it's like
Depression. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
like
it's depression, which is like, "Oh my god." So there's
yeah.
some really interesting, if not, it doesn't all need to be a big shark, but,
Mhm.
depression is really a big shark if you think about it.
Well, thank you, Greg, for your little worry, and
Well,
we hope,
thank you for the discussion. Yeah. Well, gives me comfort to know where there's time to figure all of this stuff out, right?
it's also inspiring that your daughter still is friends with bad guys, and
Yes.
maybe let that be our watchword going forward, like,
Legit,
make friends with bad guys.
legit. Alright, now we're gonna move into the bigger worries. So, I'm gonna go first. Um, this is a complicated one, but I'm worried that I now know, especially now in the pandemic, how fast wasted time goes by. Um,
Um,
and it's definitely related to, I guess, just like how quick time moves in different situations. But I think wasted time, especially, uh, you're like, oh my God, like I was just on my phone for an hour. I had no idea. It was so fast. And I notice it now faster, but I still am doing it. I don't know if you guys are experiencing this as
Are
well.
you using like the tracking tools to see how much time you're spending on your device and then
Mhm.
what about a
and
sleep pad? Have you thought about a
yeah,
sleep
For
pad?
my phone or for my life.
you should be spending that time sleeping, not on your phone, right? That's
That's true. That's true.
it amazes me, like, how, a month will be gone,
Yeah.
and like, but, like, for me, a day feels long. So, time, like a on the micro, sometimes an hour or a task or a shorter duration activity can seem not interminable, but it drags. But then all of a sudden you look up and it's like 3 weeks later. You're like, "What the hell happened?" Or I work in an academic context, so I tell the guys in September, I'm like, "The day may feel long, but it's gonna be May before you know it."
Hmm.
And sure enough, the year is gone, and so, but the idea of, like, wasted time, it's such a, profound statement, and the way that you put it, Casey, was, um, it hit me, of, like, what even, like, how do you define, wasted time?
That's a
Um
big thing that I feel like is terrorizing me, is because we're all very, um, well, first of all, this whole pause, like for many people, like for me, it's been an important reevaluation time, even though it's been like on the whole, like horrible. And, like I wouldn't ask for this. But I do feel like it's been a good, it has been for this specific thing good because I definitely was a person who was addicted to being busy. Um, and I've found that it is hard to, well, time goes by slow when you're doing something that you're completely disconnected to everything. Like, you go for a long walk and it's like, oh, that was only an hour or whatever. Whereas, you know, or like if you just do the dishes, it doesn't take that long because it's like not wasted time. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like the value of the time and how you're spending it, it really, to me, it all like is very tied together. And then it's like, oh, well, sometimes I'm framing wasted time as like resting. It's like I shouldn't be wasting this time not doing anything. And that's not healthy either. Uh, I also have a weird thing. See, this is why I'm worried. You can see that I'm spiraling as I'm talking about
Yeah.
it.
Are you sure this is your little worry? I'm worried about your big worry.
Oh no, this is my big worry.
Oh, this is
we've
the
sh
big worry.
This
Okay. All
is
right.
big.
All right.
um like
keep spiraling, Casey,
Yeah.
I
don't
will
go.
even wake up early to try to like give myself more time, and then by the middle of the day or like the end of the day I'm like I'm too tired. I'm like I wasted my I wasted my long day. um
You got up early to waste more time. I wasted those 2 hours.
by going to
I
bed it's like
Casey, this is a little different. I'm interested in how you define wasted time, and I don't
Yeah.
mean like not to. And I say this is different because the big worry. This is your worry, and it is a sincere and like important worry. So I don't mean to like interrogate your worry, but I'm just curious of like how you define wasted time.
um
Not to put you on the spot
no,
either,
it's
of
fine.
like, but
I think it's complex, and I think I was like not eloquently getting into it before, but wasted time for me is like different kinds of things. Like I find value in connecting with other people. So sometimes when I'm by myself, I feel like I'm not using the time wisely. When I'm not
wow.
doing something productive, I feel like I'm wasting my time. If I'm doing things that are typically viewed as wasting time, like, scrolling on your phone, like, things that are pretty much widely agreed on as time wasting, I would say that's wasting time. Um,
I love that first one though, Casey, because like you it is the call to be social and the call to connect and like this siren call to like be a person in the world interacting with other people.
See and be
Um,
seen in this weird way of like, I did
but then
today.
do you beat yourself up if you're like isolated, or
No,
is am I
I
misrepresenting
I
that?
think that sometimes I will lose opportunities for productivity or quiet reflection or personal time that I could be that are valuable time with like
Mm.
chitter chatter on the phone, chitter chatter, FaceTime, which things I value and like I love talking to people, but sometimes I'm just like, why am I just so addicted to that feeling as well. And because after a while, if you're talking to people too much, you have nothing to say. So it's y'all. I've got a lot of there's a lot of it almost feels like every like section of time that passes and how it passes and how I feel like I've used that time is being chased by like the meaning or lack of meaning of that thing that I did of like, do you know what I'm saying? Does that make any sense? Where it's
For sure.
always followed up by this like evaluation, which is very weird, which is I'm I don't think everyone does that. Do you guys do that?
W so, I share in a lot of, your time anxieties. I think I hate the idea of wasting time so much that I overdo it in the other direction and, then, still feel guilty about how I've spent my time. Like, uh, yeah, just because, like, when everything's an emergency or a priority, then it's like, man, I need to value rest a little bit more. Like that's definitely not wasting time. It's
Right.
just that I have all these other things that I made sure I did so I wouldn't waste time, and there's no time to sleep. There's no um so that said, yeah, I tend to be more focused on like how much time I have left and like all the things I gotta do before that time is up. And I don't know how long that is. It could be tomorrow, it could be when I'm 80, but there's only so much time. I gotta fill it all. Um, so so yeah, I mean that definitely uh is a constant worry and a judgment thing that I'm carrying with me, and then I look back and I think like, "Oh, man, I feel guilty. I should have." It's been like, I've let a month go by without calling my family, like, I I gotta call them right now, and then all of a sudden that becomes like, "Ah, I can't waste another second. I gotta call them right now." So you get this new urgency because I didn't properly spend past time. Um,
Yeah, I can
so
flip a switch on that kind of like just like that self like I it can go from oh this to oh that like just as you described. And it sucks because there's like then it feels like there's no break.
mhm.
I find myself like the things that I fill my time with, some of the times they feel very selfish. Like in order to not waste time, I'm very like task oriented. So I tend, to feel like guilty when I sit and read a book, even though I don't consider that like I consider that very rich and fulfilling and like potentially like educational and enriching time, but it also feels like very selfish of like I could be spending it, Casey, as you say, like in a more social or a more interactive way, a more altruistic way or charitable way, like in so many other fashions. But I don't know if I'm not like I tend to be a very regimented and very habitual person. So I have like tasks throughout the day, which I think are unconsciously set up to avoid like this, um,
That's
wasted time. But
interesting.
then I'm like, am I just like a fucking robot going through of like, now this is when I do my exercise for the day? Because this is the period of time that I've carved out for my exercise. Like it seems very
Uh,
overly rigid the other way.
I find
Um,
it fascinating though that you have the same fear of like because for I used to have like more so in the past than now this fear of like if I have any schedule or any like like daily commitments, then like I do not feel free to do whatever in this moment feels like the thing that I want to do that will be the most fulfilling thing at that
oh
moment.
wow.
And which it
Wow. I am just the opposite. That's amazing.
and I
Go yeah,
which
sorry.
is it's an insane thing to
Wow.
say, and I had, like,
Yeah.
weekly commitments and things like that. To me was different. Like, a daily thing, I was like, "How am I supposed to pivot on at any moment to do the thing that is most important, most valuable?" So it's that it's actually kind of comforting to me to know that you do this opposite to make you feel the same way.
The
We
exact yeah.
we we
The
we need, but like humans need both, and that's the hard thing to balance, saving some time for that freedom, but also saving some time to force you to be good to yourself.
Mhm.
Um, Too many of my coworkers
Yeah.
literally set their alarm for 2 minutes before their meeting, roll out of bed, and then sit in front of the computer. And then their Fitbits are like, you've moved 12 steps today, and it's like, guys, you need to move. You need to force yourself to get up earlier and do something good for yourself, right? But you can overdo that too, and I think that like that's where my struggle tends to be is like I am filling every second, and then don't have that flexibility to be like I feel like fill in the blank. I feel like doing something nice, being playful, like letting the moment take me somewhere.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think we all need to balance, but it's just like kids need a schedule and a rhythm, and that actually adults do too. Otherwise, we will totally, because we're just doing what feels right in the moment, we forget to eat, we forget to exercise, we forget to sleep, we forget to shower, we forget to
Mhm.
change our clothes for 4 days straight, right? Like
Right.
we we need a little bit of structure in our lives, and then we have to use that structure to also structure out some unstructured time.
For sure.
God, God damn it, Greg, you're so right. So good. Casey, I hate the word mindfulness, but or
It's
not
so
hate, but
important.
it's super important. And like, but I think thematically, your worry is beautiful of like just being thoughtful about how you spend your time. And as Greg more eloquently put, like having the correct kind of balance on the continuum of, how you choose to spend your time and being thoughtful about it. I don't know, maybe that's the ultimate point. Because
Yes.
I'm thinking of like, I don't even allow myself to sit and watch a show at night with my wife without also having another thing that I'm doing. Um, just because it doesn't feel right to sit and watch a show without also,
Folding
I don't know, not,
laundry or, you know,
yeah, yeah,
clearing out your
yeah,
junk email or something.
exactly.
You know, this is becoming a theme now for me in this in all these podcasts of me realizing that I think part of the reason that the mindfulness of everything, I'm like, oh, so part of the reason I'm not doing these things is because I'm prepared, like I'm like, okay, if you want to, why don't you go paint? Oh, okay, I gotta figure out, like, not like figure out how or when I'm gonna do it. I'm like, oh, okay, I gotta do that. I really like, and you kind of just I just start, like, talking in my head about doing the thing that I need to do, or, like, there's a lot of, like, kind of odd puttering in my head inside of my head, as opposed to just going and doing the thing. Um, yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
I love the image of just you shuffling around in your own head,
Yeah,
just puttering around like, "Oh, I better go attach the garden hose,"
where if I
and just
just did it,
putzing
I would
around the
have more
yard.
time. I would. It's
This is a topic for another episode, but did you mention painting because you want to learn how to paint, or you do paint and find pleasure from it?
Um, well, both, because I do know how to
Okay.
paint some things, and I don't know how to paint in other ways. So this is like
Okay.
a screwed up thing too. Uh, this idea of like that's another thing of wasted time. If I take an hour to paint this happened this weekend. I took an hour to paint a painting in oil paints. I had never done it before. And I was like, I made like a mistake because I wasn't using the paint thinner right. And I didn't like the way it looked. And I was like, I wasted this hour. I wasted this canvas. And I literally left it out in the rain. Like it was this most,
Screw you, painting in the
I was like,
rain.
If your
just,
first time isn't perfect, you never should have done it, huh?
I know.
First time painting with oil, Casey? You're that hard on yourself?
I just was like, "God damn it, why do I," and it just is one of those things where it's so I don't know, it's all attached to, like, resources and spending and the
Mm.
cost and and this is again, this is the self-judgment stuff, the weird cost of XYZ. It's stupid.
It's like
I'm glad I
it's
talked
like
about it
calling
because it is embarrassing.
Cleo.
What'd you say?
Yeah. It's like calling Miss Cleo. It's like the entertainment it has value and there's a
Exactly.
cost
It's
to it.
worth it.
So it was
Yeah.
worth whatever you spent on that canvas for the entertainment and for the learning,
I
all
did.
right?
I did learn, and what's funny is, like, what I think what was so frustrating, and then we'll move on because, like, we've had enough, right, audience? They're standing up there "Yeah, we've had enough."
Boom, boom, boom.
Um,
Fist pump, fist
I
pump.
forget how to clap, but yay,
My
yay.
hands are blistered.
um, but the part that I, like when I was like, "Oh, this is what I could have been doing the whole time," I was like, "This looks beautiful." So it was like, oh, it was literally, like, half the painting was, like, this clumpy, um, just horrendous, um waist, and then at the top, I was like, "Look at you." Like, and there was just movement, and I was like, "Look, look, I can really, like, get it going." And it was exciting, but it really was it was too frustrating for me to see the clumpy ugly at the bottom. So I think I need to get
Casey,
used to the clumpy ugly.
you painted a paradox. I mean, I've never heard of anyone painting a paradox.
We gotta be careful.
Is that paint is it still out in the rain? Get that
I
shit
threw
in.
it
Come on.
away.
Oh,
No.
no. Well, someone is gonna find that thing, and
Be like,
they're gonna prove the true value of it.
they just cut
I
it
like
in
that.
half.
I'm sorry, my bad joke. What you said you need to embrace the clumpiness?
Oh,
Is that
I
what you
think I
said?
said
Or accept the
accept the
clumpiness.
clumpy ugly.
Accept the clumpy ugly. Jesus, what a phrase for 2020.
Mm.
Accept the clumpy ugly.
Yeah.
God, Casey, the 2 of you.
Y'all,
God, I've
I'm
learned
embarrassed.
so much on this
Let's talk
show.
to Greg about his big worries because I think we've gotten too far into my brain.
Oh, okay. Just
Of you
quick,
puttering around in your brain.
the background that I'm floating on right now, is that one of your paintings, Casey?
Yeah, it's and I at full disclosure, it is an interpretation of a graphic art I saw,
Hmm,
but I use like some different colors and some different things. But yeah, it is.
awesome. Love it.
Mm,
All right. So big worry time again. Okay.
Big worry. Hit us, Greg.
All right. What's crazy is like we're finding these themes all tying into this big worry, which is only amplifying my worry, which is that
Oh boy.
um, every game in our lives is starting to turn into a casino game.
Whoa. Whoa.
That is my worry. All right. Should I
And
elaborate a bit
It,
more?
I think for those of us, me,
or let me
who've
think about
never
that for 15 minutes
Yeah.
because
All right.
that is a puzzler. I love it.
it is, and
Okay.
I've talked about a lot of with people about casinos, but I've never actually been to one.
Hmm.
Tell us what you
Once this
mean.
thing is over, Casey, we're going to Mohegan. I
Oh.
mean,
Oh.
I I am not an expert gambler, but there are some things that are pretty fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Um. So Kevin, you were talking about your sleep score, right?
Yes.
Um. So right by there's this concept out in the world, gamification.
Oh,
It's
yep.
overused. It's overused. Not everything is actually gamification, or like you gamified it, but you didn't actually make it a game. Um. Uh. But the more that everything gets gamified, um, the more greed is seeping in and taking advantage of psychology to encourage unhealthy addictive behaviors that right the idea of gamification in certain situations is to encourage positive actions, right?
Mhm.
um, Peloton rewards you with all of these badges and streaks to get you to continue to be healthy and healthful and exercise and work out, right? But you can take that too far if right, like if it's all about the rewards and the badges and you like over exercise or things like that. And so Kevin, in your case, it's like your sleep score is interfering with your sleep at night, right?
Yeah.
You're like, I don't want to get out of bed and go to the bathroom because I'm going to ruin my sleep score.
Yep.
Like that is That's a bad effect of a game, because games are supposed to be fun, you guys. Like that
Right.
at the end of the day, that is what's important. And what I was originally bringing to the table was not your sleep score game, though it's so very much a similar example.
Yeah.
Um, because I used to make video games for kids, and uh it drives me crazy when I see all of these apps out in the world that are supposedly for kids that are taking advantage of psychology to trigger addictive tendencies in the kids who
Hmm.
play them. They set up these time released reward systems that just be like, "Hey, were you having fun? Well, in order to keep going, come back in." In 6 hours, and we'll unlock the thing so you can keep playing. And then it's like, okay, once it gets you to come back in 6 hours, then it's 8 hours, and then it's 12 hours, and then it's 24 hours. And like it starts building this habit of checking the game at these regular portion moments in your life,
Hmm.
and then it just seeps into these are children and adults. Either way, talk about wasting time. Addiction, right? It's
Mm.
not even your choice anymore. It's true addiction. When you are triggering these certain qualities, and I, like I respect the small place in psychology where that is helping people to break other bad habits. But I really don't think it's okay to be putting it into things that are supposed to be fun
Yeah.
and hopefully educational and skill building for kids, and just turning it into too many of the games out there now are literally just tap the screen, tap the screen, tap the screen, collect reward, collect reward, collect reward, collect reward. Okay, come back in 24 hours and do it again. And like they have done nothing but guess what that sounds exactly like.
Money noise.
Put a quarter in the slot,
Yeah.
pull the thing. Put a quarter in the slot,
Grabbing
pull the
that
thing.
one arm bandit and letting her
One
go, baby. Come
one of
on.
these days I'm gonna win, right? Like
Yeah.
Mm.
so all games are turning into casino games, um, without the the chance of actually getting rewarded at the end, but introducing that same feeling of there's a chance of me getting some reward, and like I gotta keep doing it, right? So
I
yeah, I,
feel like
I don't
once you
like it.
start look sorry, I feel like once you start looking for them, they're everywhere,
They are.
and it's the, like, manipulation of competition that it can be manipulated in a lot of different ways, but mostly it's, like, to monetize,
Yeah,
right? I
or
mean, it's
just
to,
like a
like
yeah, because it's attention economy, right? It's like getting people to just stare at the ads that they probably that many kids aren't even noticing, but that's not they don't care. Maybe they
my
are
kids are
noticing them.
obsessed my kids are obsessed with Roblox,
Mhm.
Yeah.
um,
Oh,
so and I don't I hope big Roblox doesn't come at us for, libel here, but,
there are
How
branches
dare
of
you,
Roblox
Roblox.
that the platform is fantastic. It
Mhm.
gives everybody
Lots
the
of
ability
yeah,
to
creativity.
create games, but there are so many predators out there who are making kids lying to kids, pretending that they can, earn Robux when the only way to achieve Robux is to spend real money. And so they
yeah.
waste kids' time with all these lies, right? So
My
what's
son
your Roblox experience, Kevin?
Well, my son was in the many. I will share one that my
Mhm.
son was in the shower and he yells for me to come in. He's like, "Dad, get in here!" And his tablet is set up on the sink opposite the shower. We have a glass shower door, so he can see his tablet. It's open, and he goes, hit the trackpad or whatever, hit the
Gotta
space bar,
keep the
and
thing unlocked.
so that he would jump. His avatar would jump and he would keep accruing coins or whatever. And he's like, I can't be inactive for whatever, or I won't get the buck.
Speed,
Whatever the
rhythm.
fuck. I was like, what, dude? He's like, call me from the fucking
And
shower.
this is how it connects to my worry because if you can't disconnect and have like if you cannot finish your shower without like
For him
and that'd
to
be
Greg's
that would have been
point,
wasted time for him if he would
yeah,
taking that shower would have been wasted time because
it's
it's
yeah,
reorganizing people's
yes,
priorities
Yep.
and And
To
that's
Greg's point,
crazy.
he's competing with his buddies, which
Mm,
is like I wanna back up and say, like, he has this social network on Roblox, which is amazing, and Greg, to your point of, like, the games he's playing and it's like it's an amazing network where he's, like, with his cousins and with
yeah,
his
that's true.
classmates and with, like it's super awesome, but he wanted me to jump so that he would get coins so he could buy an island with his buddies and whatever the hell they were doing, but, like, it became more competition twisted instead of for the enjoyment of it and
And
fun.
it's held in together by these rules that, back in the '90s seemed crazy. The movie Speed with, Keanu Reeves, like, if the bus goes below 50 miles an hour, you all die. And those are the rules that somebody built into this game. If you don't jump in our game every 5 minutes,
I
then
am Sandra
you
Bullock.
then you
I
lose
have to be at
everything.
that fucking wheel.
That's
Yeah,
not a
yeah,
game, that's prison. That is
yeah.
Yeah.
not a game, you guys. That is that is
You're locked
consuming
in.
that person's life, and so,
Wow.
like, yeah, that's so I really like, there's a very small world of games that I consider, like, still safe and precious, and I had all these rules when I was producing games. I had like, a game must have an end. There
Yep.
must be an end because guess what? Everyone else, where I work, was making infinite runners because they're like, well, yeah, now like it'll just go forever. Like, heck, rake it in. It's like, no, that is not fair to the children. They deserve a sense of accomplishment, and they
Yeah.
need someone to tell them it's
Boundaries,
ti-
y'all.
it's time. It's time to put that down and change your clothes and take a shower, right?
And play
Back to
another
that
game.
again.
Maybe write your own
Yeah.
game. Yeah, I
Yes.
think that idea is that point is so valid because yeah, the endless nature of things I think is something that can it either it for me, endless nature of something feeds the the participation in it as opposed to something that if it's there all the time, you'd think that you'd be like, I'll get to it later. But it's the opposite of like you just start doubling down harder and harder, and it becomes less and less um
Man, good
enjoyable.
casino terminology, Casey. Just keep doubling down,
Oh shit.
split your 11s. Man, you're ready for the casino.
Sign me up. Give me the
Just keep
dice and
on
give me a
rolling them
freaking
sevens,
margarita.
baby.
Oh my god. Someone
Give me a
else make me
margarita.
a cocktail. Remember
Oh,
that?
they feed them to you. Infinite runners. That is an amazing term.
It's so stupid.
Amazing. Like, such a profound idea, profound, like, concept, and, take it, like, right now in my mind, I'm, like, taking it so far, like, to in its application to everything we do in our lives of, like, infinite runners. Holy smokes. That blew
Mhm.
my mind. I love
Greg,
it.
it's really freaky. It's really freaky. I worry for kids. And, you know, I've been on TikTok, the pandemic has really cultivated that TikTok engagement for me. I was like, I do not care. Then I wanted to just see what was going on. And they have like these little videos in between when you're on there for like an hour. They're like, hey, you've been on here for a long time. Why don't you get a glass of water, a snack, and then maybe watch some videos later? And I'm always like, shut up. And I like just
Wow.
keep watching the video. But I was
Shut
like,
up.
if I was a child, this would be a very good video.
So somebody at that company cares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's
they do
yeah.
have them. Yeah. It,
Somebody does.
yeah.
One
Ethics in
yeah.
creating things. It's,
One maybe ray of hope or something. I don't like bike shops are backlogged for months
Mhm.
for just tune-ups and getting bikes ready for the spring and summer season. Canoes and kayaks like got were impossible to find in central Connecticut at a certain point over the summer. Um, so I don't know. Hopefully, like traditional, those aren't competition, but it's like other ways to engage in fun and active ways
Yeah.
that I don't know. Hopefully, we can avoid. I mean, because Greg, that's an
because the Connecticut
amazing,
River
amazing
ends.
idea. The Connecticut River does end.
And,
411 miles from its source in the Long Island Sound. Um,
analog games like sports, like those are still games that are so old that they didn't yet know how to introduce these psychological addictive tendencies. So go,
oh,
go play a sport or play a nice, healthy, traditional, old school game like an 8-bit Mario game that has an end. Right?
Oh my
That's
has an
my
god.
end.
advice. Yeah.
Oh,
400-meter
amazing worry.
dash.
Yeah. Thank you.
Infinite runner.
Thank you,
Feels
Greg.
infinite.
That was an amazing worry.
It
Guys, did we do
frightens
it?
me because I think we did
Oh,
it. It frightens me. Greg
Oh,
is the voice of the future, so I'm just like,
amazing. Amazing. I learned a lot this episode. Greg, we're gonna have you tell us a little bit more about what you're up to after we recommend something good. So stick around for this because maybe I don't know. Hopefully, Casey and I recommend something good that might enhance your week. Um, Casey,
Mhm.
I promised an out of the box idea earlier, and now I'm nervous that my idea is going to suck and not live up to it.
That's
But
silly.
when was the last cup of hot cocoa you had? And not like cheap, you know, like real like hot cocoa.
Kevin, I'm gonna tell you something. I don't know.
Oh, I had
I had cheap.
jeered.
Greg
Oh,
is so
okay.
upset.
oh, I had hot cocoa this morning.
Yeah, Greg's
I
on
care
the
about it passionately.
fucking
And
on the
I mean,
cocoa
I don't know.
train.
At
Casey, I miss
Vaughn's, like,
you.
is
I
that hot
miss
cocoa,
you.
like, good hot cocoa? Like, are they using
I
Swiss Miss?
I feel like I'm not,
Yeah, yeah.
I might have misspoken on, like, good or bad. I had Ghirardelli double chocolate, dark chocolate hot cocoa, on a cold day a few days ago, and I hadn't had hot chocolate, I don't know, in, potentially years. Like, it just
Mm,
was not something that I indulged in. It was a delicious treat, and I don't know, maybe, there's a very small minority who is not indulging in hot cocoa, but please,
I will.
before spring is fully sprung, get some hot chocolate
Good
because god
advice.
damn, it was good.
You know what, Kevin?
So, oh,
I'm gonna
oh,
tell
go ahead.
you something.
What do you what are you gonna tell me?
I remember the last time I had good hot chocolate. The
Yeah.
Ghirardelli reminded me. It was on Christmas Eve because I was sitting outside because it was warm enough to be outside, but it was
Mm.
still for the winter. And Kevin, I'm gonna literally do something that's gonna make you so mad. I'm gonna suggest you put something in your next hot chocolate. Are you ready?
Bring it.
Put red
I love
wine in your hot chocolate.
what?
Put red wine in your hot chocolate, just a little bit.
Red wine in my hot
Yep.
chocolate.
It's gonna taste like
First of all,
chocolate covered
s
cherries.
synergy of recommending something good, I love. I'm not gonna get mad at that. You kidding me? Uh, I'm gonna keep an open mind because if you carry a big enough basket, you're always gonna come home with something, and
Wow.
I'm gonna put in some red wine into my hot
Do it.
cocoa.
Okay,
Love it.
Greg might do it too. We're all gonna do it.
Well, so everyone with Vaughn's being closed for a good long time, but now being open again, everyone's been buying the Irish cream that they're selling, and that
Mm,
is a magical additive if you are having an evening hot
Yeah.
yeah,
cocoa.
yeah.
So,
Ooh,
and
God.
just so that we don't crap on Swiss Miss too heavily here.
No,
Just
no.
want to note that they know that Ghirardelli's out there and they have stepped up. And so I
Mm.
will recommend that if you do go Swiss Miss, check out their indulgent collection. It's literally
Stop it.
titled,
What?
yes, Rich Chocolate Indulgent Collection or Dark Chocolate Indulgent Collection. They give Ghirardelli a run for their money. I'm serious.
Wow.
I have switched and I'm all
Wow.
chocolate.
That's
All right.
amazing. That sounds like
The
a
rich
spa
chocolate indulgence
chocolate.
series is so good. And also, it does matter what you put in there.
Right.
Like, boil some water, but then add a little bit of,
Milk or
oat
cream.
milk, yo. Everyone's doing
Mm.
the oat milk now. It's really good in your hot chocolate.
Lactate whole milk.
Mm.
There
That's
you
what I
go.
go with. Real rich. Guys, we're all improvisers. What you just witnessed was yes anding. Some hot chocolate with
Yeah,
wine, Swiss
not
Miss
planned.
signature. No,
No,
come on.
it just reminded me. It was so funny. Hilarious. You guys, this has been so much fun. And all I have to say is I've been thoroughly um hilariously shamed into accepting my clumpy ugly. So I'm going to
Casey,
accept it.
we've been saying it for years. Accept the clumpy ugly. Greg,
Inspiring.
what can we look forward to from Greg? Anything you want to pitch? Anything you want to plug? Or just well wishes for the audience? But the mic
Oh,
is yours.
thank you so much. Oh, I definitely have well wishes for the audience. I really appreciate all of you who are listening. Yes, you are getting a standing ovation from the show host. So nice work, audience. Yeah, and thank you to the show hosts as well for having me. Um, once this pandemic is over, please come, like, as soon as you feel safe to do so, and I 100% respect that, but please come visit us at CT Comedy Theater for this show and every other show we're doing. In the meantime, we are at the very least having monthly mixers, so and everyone is welcome. And if you want to try improv, we will pair you up with with an experienced improviser who's going to make you feel like a rock star. And if you just want to watch, just come hang out and watch. Um, I think I'll let that be the main invitation, just so that we keep, because what's special about CT Improv has always been the community. That was part of our original mission, and so that is, that's the community event that keeps us all engaged, and has continued to do so through the pandemic. So yeah, check out ctimprov.com and come to one of our mixers in the coming months. It's usually the third Wednesday of the month.
It's super fun. Thank you,
Incredible.
Greg.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, accept the clumpy ugly.
Yes.
Thank you all. We'll see you next time.
Bye. Bye-bye now. Oh, yes.